Hey guys, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today we're doing another Assetto Corsa Fanatec video. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now this is the DD Pro that I'm using, the GT7 one. We are playing Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PS5. So we're going to go ahead and get into COTA, Circuit of the Americas, because I want to talk some more about this wheel. And mainly today's video is going to center around why you should figure out these settings for yourself. Now, I'm going to go ahead and drive this. There's a reason why you need to figure out these settings for these games on your own. There is a big reason. And I've said it in a couple other videos. What feels good for one sim racer is not always going to feel good for another racer. Now, is what I've been doing with mine is trying to get it to feel as close to driving a real car as possible. To me, that just feels a lot better. I don't like it to feel gamey. I don't want it to feel I don't want it to feel like a video game, like unnecessary bouncing and shaking, all kinds of weird stuff like that. So I have mine set up to where it's not like overpowering me and stuff like that, but because I want it to feel as close to the cars that I drive in real life, so that I can get a better feeling of what my car is actually doing on some of these turns and stuff. And if you've played Assetto Corsa Competizione, then you know exactly what I mean. Like, this game here is just unbelievable when it comes to the force feedback effects and everything else. Like, this game is literally incredible. It feels great. We're gonna go ahead and switch up my view, though. I know a lot of people kind of don't like that, but I do. I like that. I like that field of view. To me, that just feels better. I don't really. Oh, where's that? So now it's harder for me to see my braking lines and stuff too with this. I mean, it's not impossible for me to drive by any means like this, but actually, let's see if I can adjust the view setting with this on this. Oh yeah, I can go all the way up to 90. And come back a little bit. Okay, let's go up on the height. Let's go with the pitch. And slide the lateral over just a little bit. Guys, this might actually work. Okay. Let's see how that feels. I love how you can change this now. That's like one of the most important things I wanted from this when it came to console was I wanted more control over my FOV. And now we have it, and that's incredible. This feels a lot nicer. After I, like I said last night in last night's video, I was coming home and I was on the freeway and I was going over this this turn, kind of a long turn, but a little bit on the sharp side as well. But it was feeling. I don't like how with my view like this, I can't really see the rev counter down there. But I mean, I guess I can kind of see the one on the on my wheel setup. Now this wheel here just feels a little bit too small for me. I'm hoping, you know, later tonight, I'm going to order that R330 as soon as my paycheck hits the bank. I'm going to spend some more money on that R430 and have that here hopefully by the end of the week. so we can do some testing on that as well. But I don't think I've gotten my awards on this track yet. I mean, everything's been coming so fast, and I've been playing 3 versions of this game. Xbox I have the most done, so it'll be nice to be able to jump back on the Xbox version later this week. I mean, I'm actually pretty surprised at just how good this PlayStation version is. It actually feels pretty dang good. Oh, dang. Yeah, it's 1 through there. So the most practice I have on this track here is in the bullet bikes on MotoGP games. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, let's get back to the whole thing that I was talking about. Ah, man, I'm sorry, I get so sidetracked when I'm making these videos. I like to just ramble on, drive and race. I'm trying to get better at that too, so that I can make videos that are out not as, not as terrible, so that I can actually put out some better content when it comes to the racing stuff, man. I need to get better. But yeah, setting up these wheels on your own is something that you definitely want to learn. And thankfully, Fanatec on the PC, you can get on the PC, you can plug your wheel in, and it actually tells you what all of them settings do. And man, I was able to dial this in pretty freaking quick with just knowing what some of those settings do, and the way they explain it kind of helps. There's a couple that are a little bit like weird, and I don't really know if they're working all the time, but on some games it kind of feels like maybe they're working. But for the most part, the one that made the biggest difference is the one right after you set peak. It's like that NDP or NPD or whatever. That setting for me made the biggest freaking difference at how this was feeling. It went from just like a stuttery mess to a smooth ride that I have ample control over my car, over my reaction times, over what's going on. That made the biggest freaking difference. Well, that and turning it to 70% power. Those two settings for me instantly made this a much better experience. More in line with what I was getting out of that Camus direct drive. This one here still does feel a little bit off, just because I'm pretty sure that's just the wheel though. I really do think that's just the wheel itself. Like I said, by the end of the week I'll have that R330, that bigger wheel. I will end up buying a 320mm rim as well, because once I get the Club V Sport 2 with this wheel that I'm buying, I'll be able to buy any of those wheels for like 130 bucks, and that's not that's pretty cheap. So I got a couple that I got picked out that I'm probably going to grab. They got this Forza one that I'm going to grab for Forza Motorsport. They've got one for, and then they got this drift one that I'm going to pick up. So that's just 2 more. So it's another like $300. That's the thing, man. You get into Fanatec and, whew, man, you're going to start spending all kinds of dollars. But I mean, all of this stuff will go forward and work interchangeably if I decide to go with the podium or something, or if I get lucky one day and Fanatec's like, yeah man, you're good at talking about our products, so we're gonna send you one for free. And then I'd be like, yay, great, all the money I've spent on this stuff is starting to pay off. I'm just joking. Ooh. Oh, see, like, I like the way that feels when you're about to go off and when you're losing grip. I do like the way that feels. Like, this is a good experience. This Fanatec DD Pro has got more than enough power to be convincing enough to make you feel like subtle things, but man, Assetto Corsa, I think Assetto Corsa Competizione is like that game that you should focus on on building out the way it feels for you, because this game feels incredible, literally incredible when it comes to force feedback. You get really, even on that canvas, man, even on that canvas, that thing felt incredible. So it's one of those things where this game's got some of the best force feedback ever made. So this is the one that you should focus most of your attention on building out for like getting a good feel for your wheel setup. And then I mean, like, the biggest problem with Gran Turismo 7, sorry, I forgot to downshift. The biggest problem with like GT7 is just a lack of fine details, the lack of you know, like when you hit rumble strips and stuff like that, you don't necessarily always feel them on GT7, which can kind of like throw you off, especially if you've come from something like this game right here. But this is by far the best feeling track racer on the console. Like, it feels incredible. Ooh. It feels incredible, and I was surprised I was able to kind of save that after hitting that. But this one here feels incredible. This is part of my learning. This is part of my learning curve. I brought you guys along for me learning a track, and then you'll watch in a while. I'll be hitting this track and all these turns and everything. I'll feel normal. I'll have my braking down. I'll have my steering down. Normally I would be a whole lot more focused than I am right now because I'm not because I wouldn't be talking, but and I'd be in my preferred view that where I learn things, because in that view that I normally drive, yeah. I did a lot of this video this way, so if you're still here, ooh, look at that. That looks so shiny. So shiny. Trying to get back to the button so I can change my view back. There we go. I like this view much better. This here is how I learn, because I need to have it lined up. I don't think it was this view. I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the one I have set. I think this one here is the helmet cam, the one with the where like when you turn and stuff, the body movement and everything happens. See, like, I'm looking way out over there. I'm just looking right along my windshield. You know what I mean? It looks better on a big screen. If you're watching this on like a little phone or something, I can kind of see how that would be a little bit harder and stuff, but it really does. So those turns right there are kind of giving me a little bit of problem to learn. To be completely honest with you, I'm not gonna lie. This track here is definitely a challenge on some of these turns. But yeah, finding out how to set these up by yourself is gonna give you the freedom to be able to set this up on every game. If you can dial it in for Assetto Corsa Competizione, then you will be able to dial this in on any game. You know, your Gran Turismo 7 is going to be a challenge. I mean, that one there, you just want it to not feel violent. To be completely honest with you, with me, I just don't want it to feel violent when I'm trying to steer. Everything else, as long as it gives me some sort of feedback every now and then, a little bit of rock, a little bit of bounce, something like that, I'm usually fine with that, because when I'm in VR, that'll trick my brain enough to make me feel like I'm actually driving. Ooh, see, now I got to learn this whole thing again with this view, which is fine. I mean, I can do that, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, this feels fine for now, but I do want my bigger rim, and I do want it to feel. I want it to feel a little more. Like I want it to feel a little more weighty. To be completely honest with you, I really would like to be at 8 Newton meters, so I can feel, you know, like a little bit more. Like, have it feel a little bit tighter, but at the same time, like with this little rim, that just That doesn't sound feasible to me. Alright, let's see if we can nail this section. We could drop down into first right there. Yeah, that'll work. Might be a little bit slow for a while until I nail the exact angle, but I think first gear. Still get third through here. Kind of got to let off the throttle, punch it back down. Get right around that corner. See, I like this because I can line my turns up right along that window. I think I shifted way too soon. Shifted way too soon. So we'll do this right here. And then you just kind of aim, boom, for that. Now it does kind of look a little weird at sometimes, but for the most part, man, this view is kind of good, man. This is kind of, in my mind, what it looks like in VR. And so when I just tend to turn my head to the right or left, I get a better situational awareness with this view. And it feels like I'm going faster because the road looks narrower. So it actually gives me a little bit better sense of speed. I do that with my rally games too. I like to feel like I'm going fast. That's just me. Like if you put the screen all the way back, I feel like it slows down the gameplay. It might make it easier to judge some stuff, but I don't feel like that's the case. I don't feel like that's the case. But I love playing this. I love playing this. I love learning everything. And I usually just stick right here to the McLaren. I don't branch out that often. I've spent a lot of time in Assetto Corsa since it came to Xbox, and almost the majority of that time has been in this McLaren. Because normally I'm a Corvette guy. I'm a GTE Corvette C8. That's the car I want to drive, and that's not in here. So the next best thing for me was the McLaren. I was like, yeah, I'll drive that. Well, actually, sometimes I play around in the Acura or the Honda. Not always just the McLaren, but mostly is this car. I feel like this car is pretty stable. This car is pretty stable for learning. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm way past the beginning stages of learning how to play this game. I probably could jump into something like the Ferrari or the Porsche, but I feel like those cars are a little more... I don't know. I don't necessarily like those ones. It's kind of like having your first truck, you know? You don't really care about anything else except for your McLaren. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this lap, and then I'm gonna stop this video. The MPD setting. Oh my gosh, man! Why do I always do that? I always get a little overzealous through that section, thinking, yeah, man, I'm just gonna take it all out. And yeah, that never happens. Even on the motorcycle racing games, man, I'm like, my gosh, that's like a hard. It's an interesting section. I need to spend some more time here. I definitely need to spend some more time here. But yeah, that MPD setting, I believe, is the one that has been the most helpful out of the box across most genres of games. Between GT track racing and rally racing, that one here has been. That one's been the best, honestly. That setting right there has made a lot of this very, very, very nice and feel a lot better than when I first unboxed this and played with it that day. Man, oh my gosh, I was so frustrated because I was sitting here playing around with it, and I was just using the PlayStation 5, and then the next day, you know, I had it over on the PC mostly, and I was getting it all worked in and set up that way, so it was getting a lot better. The more I played with it on the PC, the more I started coming around to it. And then once I got it back over here on the PlayStation, I was able to set things up and get things more dialed in. So that's good. I'm glad that I'm coming around to this, because this is a lot of money, man. The setup is a lot of money for a lot of people. So it is nice to try to figure it out. So, all right, my friends, that was that lap. Let's see what our times look like. Return to garage, timetables. We're still at about 218, 220 to 218. It's pretty consistent for the most part. Can get more consistent. Let's shave some more time off there. I feel like I'm losing a lot of time on that. So, all right, man. If you guys like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.